George Pickens, wide receiver, Georgia. 6'3", 195 pounds, be 21 years old in 6 months during the kickoff. Ran a 4.47 40-yard dash, 33-inch vertical, 125-inch broad jump. This is a guy who tore his ACL in the spring of 2021, but he actually came back later in the year. Played in 4 games, which was pretty impressive. And he slowly got better and had his best game in the championship game, where he absolutely dominated against Alabama.
Well, his couple catches were really good.
To one catch for 52 yards.
Okay, well, I mean, he had good.
He totally dominated.
I mean, dude, he had good numbers.
He had a number.
He had one catch for 52 yards in that game. But
what game am I thinking of then? Where he had the
He only had like 5 catches this season.
It was 5 catches for 107
yards. Yeah, you're right. I was thinking,
you were looking at the season total for that.
I messed up. Sorry.
That's okay.
That's all right.
The catch was so good, but I mean, he came back.
But it was a great catch.
It was a great catch. He
showed off his ball track.
I read him wrong he played in the 4 games and championship game in the 5. And then I had a stat, so I did read it wrong. But I mean, his freshman tape, fantastic.
Yep.
Came back in the Natty. Guy who gets off the line really well. Pretty good burst. Uses his hands really well. Good quickness for his size. Fantastic hands. Arguably some of the best hands in this entire class. 2 drops on 142 career targets.
And he makes some wild catches.
Yeah.
He does.
Really good body control. Real good ability to go and high point the football.
Yeah. Freaky.
Yeah. Literally one of the best receivers in this class when it comes in. A huge catch radius. Tracks the ball really well. Really young. Tons of upside. To me, we'll see if it can stand at that point, one of the absolute best values for upside at the end of your rookie draft this year.
And he's a guy that I would describe as like a dog. Like this dude he plays aggressively.
End of the first round, you mean?
Yeah. Like anywhere from pick 9 to 12.
Yeah. You said end of the rookie draft, so I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah.
End of the first round.
Not pick 6'6", 6'12". Yeah. At the end of your first round. I mean, this is somebody that's he's a dog.
Mm-hmm. He's a dog. I love the way he like maintains a focus with people around him, defenders around him, still able to come down with the ball. He's for being a 6'4" guy or 6'3" guy, he's not like a jump ball guy. Obviously, but he still offers a great catch radius. He's got 77 inches.
I thought he was a really good jump ball guy.
Yeah, me too.
I have him with a 9 on that.
Yeah.
So, like I was saying, his jumping ability.
He had 5 catches in the Alabama game.
His jumping ability is not that great at only 33 inches, but he's got a good catch radius, so he can still go up and get it. So, he shows good body awareness.
He's a raw receiver, and he has got a ton of tools, though.
Dude,
I mean,
when it comes to raw, too, it's not just a football player. I mean, he has a lot of immaturity things you have to worry about here. I mean, tons of penalties.
I wrote that he's physical almost to a fault at times.
Here, like
some physical in a weird way. I'll get to that in a second, but in a weird way.
Big red flags when it comes to maturity levels with George Pickens starts with penalties that he has, like stupid penalties. Violated team rules as a freshman, was suspended. Got a huge flag for squirting water at the Tennessee player from the sideline. Got in a fight with a Georgia Tech player.
Was that the one that he was ramming his head against the wall, like the boundary wall, like he literally grabbing his helmet and like slamming it?
Yeah, he's definitely got some like issues with that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So when I was saying the physical in a weird way, like there's like these highlights of him like just like chucking defensive backs like off the line and stuff like that, and just like throwing dudes, but his release off the line is not very good. Like he actually had a pretty low score for me in his release. So he doesn't release very well. And actually there were times where he would get knocked in his routes a little bit. So like he would show moments of physicality when he was like blocking, or when he was, like a defensive back was pressing and he was just
take advantage of him.
Yeah, he would like fake and then he would just like chuck the dude. And like, so you could see like there is strength there, but I don't see him actually use it to his advantage in his play style as much as I would like.
And I actually wrote that, him getting off the line, he uses quickness. He doesn't really use like a physical move or uses arms to like kind of get off of.
No, and he got jammed a little more. And I think he enjoyed doing that too much to the defensive backs, where he like focused too much on the defensive back as opposed to focusing on getting past the defensive back. Like it was a weird obsession. Like literally, if you can look it up, there's like highlights of like 5, 6, 7 times where he would like fake go long or like fake come back, and then he would just like chuck the defensive back. It was just this like weird obsession that he had with it. But I think he needs to really refine that area of his game, because as an X receiver, you're going to get pressed. You're going to be getting the best defensive backs, and you're going to have to get offense past the line, because I'm seeing these Davante Adams comps, and I understand why from a physical look at the guy standpoint, but that's one of the things Davante Adams does the absolute best in the NFL is get off the line, and I think that's one of the things he does the worst. So he had a solid score for me, 74.55, but it's very limited tape. It's a few games here and there. There's injuries. There's all this
games
stuff.
the last 2 years. That's all he played. 12 games in the last 2 years.
So that's going to be the tough part. Is you are drafting him on what he could be, not necessarily what he is at the moment.
It's all upside. Because there's some things you got to be worried. His 3.7 yards run after the catch is a little bit concerning for a guy of his size. He's not overly elusive out there. Some of the plays, like you said, that he uses his strength for, the separation he got at the college level won't be the same separation you would get at the NFL level. So there's some concerns about that as well.
He's not a guy a run after the catch. Like, you're not going to chuck him the ball on a screen pass and expect him to do anything. He's not that kind of guy. He is a guy that you can maybe get him on some slants and stuff like that. And get him down.
I think he's more fast than quick.
Yeah, I do. And I think he can separate in those kind of instances as well. So I think that would be a good use of kind of his talents and skills and how he would fit into the NFL offense. But he can get by guys. I think he's fast enough to get by guys as well. Yeah,
he's fast.
So that's just where he's going to live. I don't think he's ever going to be a guy that you're throwing a screen pass to or giving him the ball on a reverse, because that's just wasting his talents.
He's made to play in today's game. Like he plays in 2022 NFL. Right? He's built to succeed and put up fantasy points in this level. He offers that wide receiver one upside.
He's one of the very few players that offers it in this class, and that's why I ended up getting him into the second tier of my wide receivers, and it's based purely on the fact that he has got upside and I think the skill set to be that. He's not there yet. He's got a lot.
I think it gets backed up too when he's a high pick in the second round. Like, he's gonna be a high pick in the second round, kind of like that. That T. Higgins range. Obviously T. Higgins was 33, but he's gonna be a high pick in the second round. So I think he's gonna be backed up by that, and I think he will find his way consistently at the back end of first round rookie drafts.
It would make a lot of sense. One pick later at 34, that's where Detroit is picking. I think that would be a good receiver for them to
him
add.
and Amon-Ra St. Brown be a great combo. With Josh Reynolds on the outside for the speed to spread the field. Yeah.
He's the ultimate swing for the fences type guy, because in 3 years, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being the top wide receiver in this class from a fantasy production standpoint. Mm-hmm. But there's also, I wouldn't be surprised if he completely flames out and he's nothing.
Yep.
Who would you guys rather have right now? Because I think there's two players with this kind of very much unknown but crazy ceiling. Would you rather have George Pickens or Christian Watson?
Pickens for me.
It's Watson for me.
I would probably take...
I'll take the 5-star pedigree.
I think he was a 4, but...
They're really close for
high
me.
4.
I think he was a 5.
I think he was a 5 too.
I think he was a high 4. I'll look.
Same thing. If we're looking at upside, Watson offers the same kind of
round
upside.
up on my stars.
I have Pickens graded higher, so I'm going to go Pickens.
Okay.
I'd flip a coin as if it stands now, but I think in the long run it probably would be Pickens.
And I think those are two guys that are going to come. It's probably going to come down to your drafts.
They're in very similar ranges for sure in a lot of drafts, I would imagine.
And like you said, there's a lot of there's a lot of players with the same kind of upside that have busted. We've seen guys like J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, the back end of your first bust. Dorial Green Beckham, same kind of big upside that busts. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Those guys, you aim for the fence on those guys, but then you miss. But then you hit guys like Davante Adams, where it's right around pick 8 to 12 his rookie year.
Well, we've had a lot these past couple of years. The Elijah Moores, the Jalen Waddles, we've had a lot these past AJ Brown.
That have hit.
Yeah.
Those guys were a little more sure things, I think.
Sure. Oh, for sure.
You felt more confident.
I'm just saying,
those guys.
this back end of the first is a really interesting range because you do have a lot of high upside receivers.
In this draft, I'm willing to take that risk. How about that? In years past, on a guy like Pickens, I maybe would I would feel a lot more comfortable if he was the first 4 picks in the second round, like right around 2-4. I'd feel good there. In this draft, I think I feel comfortable 1-9, 1-10, 1-11.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of where I feel.
And that even makes more sense in this class. This is where he sits at the back end of the first. Like I am hoping that I get a George Pickens share or two at the back end, or I really hope that some of these guys get draft capital bumps and he falls to like early second round. That's a potential too, but I bet his draft status gets him a bump and locks him into the first round.